talk about shame. Exciting, right? Okay, maybe not that exciting, but to me it is, because shame is the crucial piece that I see in most of my clients who succeed or fail. Either they can work through their shame and they come out the other side, or they can't and they stay stuck. So the people who are able to work through their shame and their negative self-talk and develop healthy coping skills are the ones that truly succeed and get control of their porn habit and change their lives. So let's get into it. 1, we're going to talk about what shame is and why it holds you back. 2, we're going to talk about how to take charge of your shame and your life. So basically, this video will solve all your problems. Okay, maybe not that easy either, but these really are like the pieces of gold that if you keep practicing and keep developing, they will get you where you want to be. Okay, so what is shame? Brene Brown, who is one of my favorite people, and I'm going to pull some of her definitions because they're so solid. She defines shame as feeling bad about yourself, internalizing problems as a problem inside of you, as in, I am bad, I am worthless, I am not enough. So those aren't external problems, those are internal problems. This is me. I am not enough. Which is a huge and powerful damaging statement. But we will get into that in a second. So, she defines guilt, on the other hand, as recognizing that, hey, I did something wrong. I did that. That was bad. I feel bad about it, but I can do something different. So it motivates change, right? There's a big difference there. I am bad and I did something bad, okay? So if you get stuck in shame, we can't do much about it. We're bad, we're hopeless, we're helpless. Everything we try fails, we are stuck. If it's more guilt though, we don't internalize it. We identify ways we can change, the things we need to change. So that doesn't mean that we're like, oh, that was good, that was okay, and we're justifying anything. That's not it at all. It means, hey, that was a mistake. That was bad. And this is what I'm going to do to change it, and this is how. If we're stuck in shame, though, we feel bad about it, we hate ourselves for it, but we just feel so helpless that we don't do anything to change it, so we stay there, and we're stuck there. So if you're stuck in your pornography habit, you're most likely stuck in shame. If you feel hopeless and stuck and like you can't do anything right, you're probably stuck in shame. So, what can we do about it? There are some things that we can do about it for sure, and these are things that I work with clients on all the time. 1, we can recognize our negative self-talk and we can start to challenge it and change it. This is such a big piece, and I've done videos on this before, and I'm going to continue doing videos on it because it's a whole nother video in and of itself, and it's something that you really have to keep working and practicing on. But you can do it. You can notice your negative self-talk and start to challenge it and change it. So that's one piece of the puzzle in working through shame. We can also recognize our shame. We can recognize it, and then we can share it with somebody who we trust, who will listen to you, who will really hear you. Now this is a really delicate piece of the puzzle because we don't want to share it with someone who will shame us more. That's the last thing we want to do, is have someone shame us more for our shame. We just keep piling on the shame till we're just completely gone in shame. We also don't want someone who will dismiss it and be like, you're fine, no big deal. That's not helpful either, okay? We need somebody who can listen and hear and recognize it in a real way. And not dismiss it or add more shame. So this may be safer to do with a therapist at first because some of the shame related to pornography and sexual issues are really deep and painful and they're embarrassing sometimes, and it's hard to share those things in not a place that's not super safe. So you really need someone who you can share openly with and who will listen to you and not judge you. It's a big piece, okay? So you may have friends who could do a great job at this. That's great if you do. Just make sure to think through it before disclosing this stuff to people. Really think through it. So I am lucky enough to have two of my best friends as therapists as well, which is really quite, helpful for me. So they are really good at this process that I'm talking about. They never lie to me. They always recognize my issues and things, and they will build me up after. So this typically goes something like, I go to them and I'm like, hey, this happened. I feel really bad about it, and this is why. And they will say, yeah, you really messed up. You did. So they'll recognize, like, yep, that wasn't good. You messed up. And then they will say, you know what? That happened to me once, and this is how I felt. So they're really empathizing with me. They're empathizing with me, and they're not just saying like, ooh, I bet that sucks, or I bet that would feel bad. They're saying, hey, I've been there, and that hurts. So they're empathizing, and they're kind of, in a way, normalizing it a little bit just to say like, hey, I see you, like that happens, you're not the only one. So that's a really big piece. Then they always finish with building me up. Like, you are strong, you always learn from your mistakes, you can do this. Go ahead and be sad now, feel bad now, that's okay. And then you need to get back to work and move on. So they're so good at that. And this is pretty much the perfect outline for what we all need when we speak our shame. We need someone to listen. We need someone to not judge us. We need someone to truly empathize with us. Now, I mentioned earlier that you may want to start talking to a therapist about your shame because they can validate you and walk you through how and if you should disclose this to others. They can also create a safe place to share even your darkest secrets. So this is really crucial because the people in your life are involved in your life. So they may have been impacted by some of this stuff, or they may be shocked, or they may have their own stuff going on. So they may not be able to be completely safe in that way that you need. They're not going to be completely biased or unbiased. And that's okay. That just may mean you need to find someone else. The other thing I want to address here is that people seem to be worried a lot about even disclosing things to therapists or coaches who are bound by laws that protect clients because they're just embarrassed to share those things. And I want to tell you, for me, I feel really privileged to hear people's shame and to hear their shame and their embarrassment. And it is something that I don't feel shocked by, I don't feel upset by. I feel really privileged because I know that's something that they're sharing with me and that they don't share with other people. And I think that's a really privileged place to be. And then also nothing surprises me at this point. Nothing surprises me. So don't be worried about your therapists or people who work in this field. They're used to this stuff. They're used to it, and they're not going to be shocked. They're there to help you. So I just want to plug that. People seem to still feel like I'll judge them or think they're weird or gross or whatever it is when we get more into it later, and that's just not the case. I'm really driven by wanting you to feel better and wanting you to kind of feel a relief from those burdens and that stress. So that's more important to me, not judging you. So sharing with someone is crucial, but take great care and concern in who you confide in, because those people need to be worthy of hearing you. They need to be worthy of hearing your shame. They need to be worthy of hearing your secrets, okay? So let's recap. What have we learned today? We have learned that shame is when we personalize things and internalize them, as in, I am bad. Guilt is when we say we did something bad and we can change it, okay? And to work through shame, we can start recognizing our negative self-talk, okay? That really helps, recognizing and challenging your negative self-talk. We can also disclose our shame to a trusted person who can really empathize with us. So in order to lessen our shame and kind of put out the fire a little bit and get us to a place where we can move through it, we can share it, we can have it heard, and we can be like, okay, I'm okay, I can get through this, I can do this. And then we move on and we get back to a place maybe where it's still guilt, we don't feel good about it, but now we can do something about it. And you can make a plan and you can do something about it. Because that's the place you want to get to, where you're making changes, where you're not stuck and you're not just feeling bad. You feel bad, but you feel bad in a way that's like, I am going to change this and I can, and this is how. So it's a lot more empowering, and that's what we're trying to help you get through here. So we work through a lot of this in the PornReboot program and so much more. This isn't an easy fix. It's something that will make a huge difference for you, but it takes practice and you have to keep working at it. So the PornReboot program helps you with this and helps you work through it and helps offer you some support and people like us that can hear you and that can validate you and help you move through this. And we know how to do that. We know how to help you move through that. So click below, check out the PornReboot program, and start practicing some of these things. Start challenging your shame and start speaking your shame.